Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's do a complete beginner's guide to Necesse, shall we? Now that it's in full release. I've actually played this game a bunch in early access. I even did a guide for the early access version of Necesse, and there have been some changes, and I'd like to make a guide that is up to date and that reflects the actual experience you would get if you were playing 1.0. I will put links in the description below to the Steam page so you could check this game out. I think it's still on sale if you're interested in picking it up. And what we're going to do for this guide is I'm going to start a brand new game so that you can play along or just follow along as I explain everything organically. The UI, the controls, tips and tricks, how to play, and how to really thrive at the beginning of the game. This is such a terrific, charming game. It's kind of a little bit of Stardew Valley, a little bit of Terraria, and even a bit of management like RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress, but to a much lighter degree. So what we're going to do is go single player, and I'm going to make a new world. And we're going to, for this series, be doing survival mode. Creative is great if you don't want to worry about finding food and such, but I think it's a not that hard of part of the game to manage, and it is the intended way, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to be doing this guide with mouse and keyboard, but I think this is a game that seems fantastic for Steam Deck, so if you've been playing on Deck and in the comments below you want to tell me how the controls operate, if it works well, let me know, because I'm curious myself. So we're going to call this world tutorial for full release. And we're going to continue. And from this point, you get to choose your difficulty level. And this is one of the cool things, too, as the game is developed. They really changed your options and given you more so you could customize your play. We're going to be doing just classic. It's a challenge where you have to think about your strategy and be properly prepared. So this is kind of like the normal default setting. Now you could click more world settings here, and the one thing that I want to really draw your attention to that I think is nice is this one here, the death penalty. We're on just about the easiest death penalty, which is default drop materials. So we drop all non-equipment, combat, and special items. But we keep everything we have equipped. And I think that's fine. But if you don't like death penalty, if you want to play where it's like you die and the penalty is you go back to your spawn point or whatever, but you don't lose anything, I can totally understand that. But we're just going to do this where there is a little bit of a penalty, but we're not going to be so brutal as to play hardcore or your main inventory and then your full inventory. We're just going to do drop materials. You can lower the raid frequency if you don't like your base getting attacked by raids, and you can just do some other changes, but we're just going to leave everything as is for classic setting and go to create world. Now, Necesse is going to just randomly generate a world for you, and we're going to create a new character. You can see I have several characters, and I want to show you the character customizer. So there's a good bit of options here. We will make a nice blue character in keeping with the channel avatar, and you could change your skin color. You could change how your eyes look and the color, so you can have a different expression, and then you could change the color, okay? And then you could change your hairstyle, and we can just do a nice well, I don't know about that hairstyle. Oh boy. The Bob Ross. Fantastic. I like, something fairly basic. This is pretty good. And then, facial hair, well, we do want, a beard, and let's have it be something like this. And then we could change the hair color to something like that. And you could change your shirt color, to whatever you like, and your shoe color as well. Perfect. Okay, I really like how I look, you could turn yourself around and just see how you appear when facing different directions. And this looks good to me. And we're going to be called... we already have an Incomp tutorial, so let's make our new character tutorial guy. So we're going to create it, and from this point you can choose your character. Now this is important because what you can do is select other characters, and you can play a character on a different world, like in Terraria, for example. And I've had many characters, and characters have been deleted as, you know, early access changed and updates have happened. And this is a brand new character for full release. So in the upper left, you're going to see that it says follow instructional arrows to learn how to chop a tree and craft a torch. So the tutorial begins, and time is moving, and let's just talk about what we see on the screen. So in the top center, you're going to see my health represented by hearts, but there's also a number, 100 out of 100, that's my hit points. And then below that, those little drumsticks are my food meter. I am full, and when you are full, you will regenerate health if you lose it. So it's always good to be topped off full-wise. And then you can see this little blue icon that means that my settlement flag is nearby, and monsters will spawn less frequently because I'm near, you know, my base, basically. I have a minimap in the upper right corner. I can entirely hide this. I can zoom out. I can zoom in. And then in the bottom center are my action keys, which this bar you should be very familiar with if you played Minecraft or any kind of, you know, Stardew survival game. And you can use the mouse wheel to scroll between these different slots that you have potentially filled. Right now we just have an axe for chopping down a tree, a sword for fighting enemies, and our crafting guide that we can use and right-click to kind of act as the guide in Stardew, where you can just insert a material to see what you can make from something. Very useful. And right now what they want us to do is walk close to the tree and hit it with the axe. So I have the axe selected. You can push 1. You can use the mouse wheel to get to this, and you'll see the button is white when it's selected, and then you just left click and you swing your axe. Now this game has no stamina, so swing away. You can swing your axe and your sword as much as you like. And as I'm walking around, you'll see I'm starting to pick up logs and saplings, and these go right here into my inventory. But this is really just the extension of my inventory that is the action bar. And if I push E, as it's saying, I open up my larger inventory. And what they want me to do is craft a torch. So by hand, from this screen, let's just talk about this crafting screen. When you push E, it brings up your inventory, which allows you to handcraft some stuff. Torches, a workstation, a ladder, arrows, and a boat. And you can make these things at any time if you have the right ingredients, even if you don't have a workstation nearby. And I will just click on a torch and put it in my inventory. Now, if I can make the item, you'll see that the icon for the torch is lit up, and then you see how these other items are kind of grayed out. It's because I don't have the resources. You could simply mouse over the workstation, and you could see that it needs 10 logs, which is the number to the left, and then the number to the right of the front slash is a 4, which means that's how many logs I have. So I need 6 more logs to make this. Okay. One thing I'll also tell you is that I don't need logs here. So if you shift-click items from your action bar, you can move them into your inventory proper and then take them off of your action bar. So to the left of our inventory is this paper doll, which is where we can equip trinkets and armor and cosmetic items. Underneath this, we have the ability to restock from nearby storage. So what this means is if I have a chest with items in it, and in my inventory or action bar, there are items that are of a similar type. Like if I have 4 logs in my inventory, but then I have a chest nearby that has 50 logs, if I push this button, then it will take all 50 logs out of my nearby storage and put it into my stack. But if I push this button and I have no logs in my inventory, it won't take any logs because it only takes what I have already in my inventory and adds them to existing stacks. This will do the opposite. So if I have logs in a box and I push the quick stack to nearby storage, it'll just shuffle off all the items that I have into crates or boxes or storage containers that are nearby. These are super, super useful. And then also you can push this little button here to just sort your inventory, and then you can use this trash can to throw things away. Now, the reason I put my torches up here instead of on my action bar is because when you mouse over the torch, you see that you can use the R key to quick place torches, which is what I always do, and it's so fantastic. You can, of course, rebind all the keys. I'm just using the default key settings, and if you push R, you will just drop a torch wherever the cursor is selected or nearby. Now, torches are amazing because not only do they illuminate things, but if an area is lit, then enemies will not spawn nearby. So what you can do is increasingly create light around your base area so that enemies don't spawn so close to your base. This game has a night and day cycle, so right now the torch looks useless, but when it's nighttime, you will see the light from that. And now what they want me to do is walk over and talk to the Elder. Now I'm using WASD to move around, and the Elder is, well, this old looking dude. And this is his house, and he's chilling. And you walk over to this guy and you right click to talk to him. Now that's what you would do to any NPC. You can right click and talk to them if you want to buy items from them, if you want to recruit them to your village, if you want to give them instructions. This is what you do to interact with them. And he says, I see potential in such a young adventurer like you. And you can talk to him. You could say, I'm looking for tips, and he'll give you gameplay advice. You can get more advice about explaining concepts. You can buy things from him. You can see what equipment he has if you want to give him better equipment. And this is useful because in Necesse, similar to Terraria, you're going to be building like a settlement, and we're going to get invaded. And so if you can give your villagers better equipment, they will fight better. Or they will have better armor, for example. Now, I'm just going to say goodbye. I don't really need to talk to him at the moment because I'm going to explain a lot of what he's going to cover in our guide. You see, time is just marching. And so what this means is it's getting dark. You can see the shadows creeping across the screen. Now, the tutorial in the upper left is saying find or craft a workstation from inventory crafting, and then place it down with left click, then use it by pressing right click. So we need to craft a workstation. So to do that, we need to chop down some trees. Now it's getting dark, so I'm just going to push R and just start dropping some torches. I put torches everywhere because I want to be able to see, and I don't want enemies to spawn. Now I'm just chopping down the trees, and you can see all these little pop-ups that are telling you how many of an item that you have. So I pick up some spruce logs and some spruce saplings, and it tells you how many you got at that time. But then on the action bar, you can see I have actually 15 spruce logs and 8 oak logs. Now you can craft out of torches out of either of those types. If I'm remembering correctly, the only real difference between spruce and oak... Oh, here's a zombie. So a zombie, equip your sword to fight the zombie, and you see the sword is doing damage, has nice damage numbers, and it knocks back the enemy, which is incredibly helpful. Now I'm out of torches, so I'm going to just push E, and I'm going to actually shift click to craft a bunch of torches, 40 at a time, and that way I have a lot of torches on hand. And it wants me to click the adventure journal, which is the button to the right of the action bar, or you can push J, and this shows you some little quests that you can do on the forest surface. And then as you encounter different creatures, whether it's like a cow or a sheep or a bad guy, these things will populate, and it tells you if you kill 25 forests, then you've completed a challenge. And once you complete these challenges, you will get rewards that you can claim. But it also tells you what is available in this biome or area. So here's all the trees, flowers, and fish that I can find on the forest surface, for example, in the places that you've been. So this is really, really helpful, and you could get to it again by just pushing J. Or if you push E, you'll notice that going back to the main inventory screen. Oh, you can see the zombies coming to our base and trying to attack it. Now, the Elder will fight. So he will come out and he will fight as well. And he's mad because I actually hit him with the sword. So he's like, why did you do that? And sorry, buddy, I didn't mean to. I don't believe the Elder can die. Or if he does die, he'll just rest and wake back up. Now, when you push E, you're going to see to the right of the action bar, there's all these little buttons that appear underneath the crafting window as well. So there's the adventure party, there's the teams and PvP, the settlement, quests, adventure journal, map, and as you mouse over these things, it tells you the key if there's a corresponding hotkey for them, and we'll talk about them more in depth. But right now what we want to do is follow the tutorial. So I'm going to chop down and just get some more wood. I have enough wood, and this zombie is shooting me actually, and he has a pumpkin hat. So because of it's Halloween time, there's like a seasonal event, and you can get that hat actually for yourself. I'm going to drop some more torches. Again, it won't stop zombies that have already spawned, but it will just make it so zombies have a harder time sneaking up on me. And also so that they just don't spawn quite as close to the base, so we can just kind of chop down trees and be a little bit safer. Alright. Yep, there's a guy over here. So you want to use your sword when you're attacking and not your axe. I'll show you. If I use my axe, you'll see how it doesn't knock back, and the knockback just makes it so fighting is much safer. The axe is for trees, not really for fighting. Okay. Good. This looks good. So at this point, I'm going to push E, and I'm just going to keep pushing stuff off of my action bar and into my inventory that I don't want down here. So I have plenty of logs. So you could see I could craft the workstation. Now, if I craft this, what's really cool is normally in these type of survival crafting games, like you have to put it on your hotbar and then you have to select it and then place it. But in this game, you can actually place it while your mouse is picking it up. So, you know, after I just crafted it, I could just place it right now as long as I'm close enough, and you don't have to put it on your hotbar. I really like it. You can also place it from your inventory. You just pick it up from your inventory and then drag it onto the game world, and you see while I'm holding it with the mouse, I can put it down. And the object that I'm placing will face the direction that my character is facing. So whatever direction you want it to be, just face that way. So I'm going to put this right there. Just inside this little fence, I've got the workstation. And then I'm going to right click on it, and it wants me to craft a pickaxe. So at the workstation, you're going to see there's this box that appears, and then my main inventory will also appear. And it's sorted by what we can make here. And there's a slider on the right. So we can make a roasting station or another workstation. Now, we don't need a roasting station because he already has one over this fire pit. Here's the equipment tools that we can make. These are objects that we can make for building houses and chests and things. Here's the flooring, and here's the miscellaneous. Now, right now, it's just showing what's craftable. But if I click this little box in the bottom left where it says only craftable, then you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff appear, which is all the stuff I could create even without the right ingredients on hand. When this is checked, it's just looking at my inventory and saying, okay, with the materials that you have, this is what I can make. And you always want to have this box used nearby inventories checked, and you see if I mouse over it, this white area of influence around the workstation is showing you that any chests that are in this white space will be picked from, so that I don't have to have the ingredients in my inventory. They can draw from there. Now, another thing that's important to mention about the inventory is that you have no carry weight in this game. So you could carry 1,000 logs and stones. It doesn't matter. It's not going to weigh you down. What you're worried about are the squares in your inventory. So once you run out, if you fill up every single one of these squares on this grid here and in your action bar, then you can't carry anything else. So you're worried more about stacks than weight. So this is why you want to build things like this storage box, for example. Now, I'm going to make a wooden pickaxe, and you could see it takes 8 logs, and I have 17. So I just click on this, and I'm going to put it down here at number 3 on my hotbar so I can use it. And now they want me to go underground, and there's a little ladder over here, and we can go underground so we can start mining and getting metal, because that's really the main way that we're going to progress in the beginning of the game. But before we do that, some things I want to show you. In the Elder's house, so you can, I have doors to be automatic, so you can right click on them to open them, or when doors are auto, you can just walk through them. There's a banner of an avocado, which looks great, but you see this little pedestal here? If you right click on this, it's a display, and there are these leather dashers on this pedestal, and this is a trinket that if you equip it down here in your trinket slot that matches the shape of this, it actually allows you to sprint, which is really, really useful. So I'm going to pick this up and put it here. And remember how I said there's no stamina? There isn't, except when you're sprinting or doing special abilities. But for chopping down trees and fighting and doing regular actions, there's no stamina like there is in Stardew Valley. But if I sprint now with this equipped, so you see how in my paper doll I put this down in this bottom center slot, if I hold spacebar, I'm running, and then you'll see this little stamina bar appear just for this action, and it goes down as I use it. So it's just a nice way of kind of like getting around or mostly running away from enemies. Now, there's also a workstation in here, but the game wanted us to craft one. If I go into the Elder's bedroom, open his chest, and you're going to notice that he's got a lot of cool stuff here. He has a settlement flag. He also has some maps and food like this, and health potions like that. So I'm going to take all of these things. I'll take the settlement flag too. We'll use that later. There's a quest for it as we move along. I'm going to go ahead and just select this map, and if I left click, it's going to show a point of interest on my map. And so now, if I zoom out on the map, there's an NPC village down here where we can go talk to people, trade, potentially recruit new villagers. And then if I click on this and I left click, I now can push M, zoom out, and there's a dungeon, and it's actually way up here. Now, we don't really want to go to the dungeon right now. We're not strong enough for that, but I've just used those two maps, and now they are marked permanently on my larger map. You just push M to go to the big map, and you can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel or the buttons at the upper left of this box. And you see I got these health potions. Again, one of the really cool things about this game is you don't have to use real estate on your action bar for a health potion, because Q is quick use, and it's going to use your strongest health potion first, I believe is how that works. So if I push Q, I'll use the health potion. Now, bread, you can put it on your action bar, or if you go to settings and you go to controls and you go to mouse and keyboard, I have actually bound, by default, eat food is not bound, but you can bind it, and I bound it to mouse 4, so I just push my mouse 4 button and I eat some food from my inventory. But this is really useful because you can see all of the key bindings and adjust them here in the controls section. So you can see that I'm 97% hungry. You can just mouse over this, and I'm not too hungry right now. I'm fine. I'm going to walk down here, and I'm going to go underground. So if I right click, now we go in the mine, and it's really dark, so you're going to want a lot of torches for this action. So I'm just going to go around putting torches. Push R to just drop a torch. If you are by a wall and you're pointing at a wall, you can actually stick it on the wall, or you could just put it, on a wall sideways like that, or just on the ground like that. And honestly, you're just going to be pushing R all over the place in dungeons to illuminate, because you can't see. Now, you see here it says mine ore by pressing with your pickaxe in your hand. So this is ore, and this ore right here is copper. But before we get that, you see this little wooden box? If I hit it with my sword, you see there's 9 torches in there and a bunch of coins. So one of the great things about the dungeon is that this is another box I can open. It just gives you stuff, money, resources, so break those open all the time. You'll get potions, throwing stars, arrows, torches, just all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to select my pickaxe, and I'm going to do this. Now, while there isn't stamina like in Stardew Valley that's so prohibitive, here we go. I got a bunch of copper. You see how now I'm much hungrier. I believe that doing actions like mining and chopping down trees consumes your hunger faster than just passing time. Please correct me if I'm wrong about that. That's just something I believe that I have noticed, but I don't know if that's been changed or if I'm just completely imagining that. Either way, that's why we have food. And so if I go to my inventory and I look at this, it says it's going to give me 20 nutrition, which I am at 86, so there's a little bit of waste because it'll overfill me. But for 8 minutes, if I eat this bread, you see how it gives me a buff of 20 max health? So it will spoil in 7 hours and 39 minutes. That's real life time, by the way. That's time of you playing, so it's going to be plenty of time. But I'm going to eat. And you see I eat, and then I get this max health boost. And then over here is the buff, 8 minutes, and you see my health is just slowly regenerating because I'm full. And now I'm filling up with 20 extra health. So the bread is really useful for just giving you some more hit points so that you are a little bit stronger. Now this pickaxe that we're using is god-awful because it's made of wood. And so we want a better pickaxe as soon as we can. Now the tutorial is saying ores are used to craft bars, which are used in many recipes throughout the game. You could find all kinds of ores, monsters, and treasures in caves. To find out more about caves and biomes, open the adventure journal to the right of your inventory. Okay, so it's right down here. And we looked at this before. And now we have another biome. So we looked at the forest surface, but you'll see that the forest cave is down here. This tells you, it's super helpful, the challenges, but also you can see all of the different ore you can get. For example, the best ore that we can get in this particular cave is gold. And we can also get sapphires and stone and clay and these fish. So I love this. And now what they want us to do is actually go back up and place our settlement flag. So we have the settlement flag here. It says go to the surface and start your settlement by placing a settlement flag. You could find one in the starter house chest or craft one in a workstation. Interact with the flag or press C to open the settlement menu. So I'm just going to place this settlement flag, and I'm going to put it just right there. And it says, do you want to use it? And you say confirm. And then now you see my little picture on it. And you can push C to use the flag or just open the settlement screen. And it says the settlement menu is where you can manage your settlers. Settlers help you gather resources and can join you on adventures. And so this is the truth. You could see in the minimap this blue box. This is the range of my settlement based on my flag. So everything within this box is like my settlement area. We've reduced spawn rates, and we can build in this space. It looks like the elder has a quest for you. Go pick it up. You see the yellow exclamation point on his head. Now, what they're telling you is that this is the purpose of getting settlers, is that you could give them jobs. Like what I love to do is say, go chop down trees for me, or go do gardening for me. And as long as you meet their needs, they will stay and they will do these jobs. So currently, if I could click the settlers button, I could see that I have Shane, the elder, and he's idle. And I can go to work priorities and I could say, hey, can you do something? Unfortunately, the elder is not going to do anything. I can't give him any jobs. If it's grayed out, he won't do it. But these are the different types of jobs that people could do for you. They can haul items, they could craft, they could do forestry, chop down trees and plant new ones. They could do farming, they can do fertilizing, they can work with animals, they can fish, they can go hunting. And you can also assign them to, you could do the assign work to assign zones or areas. So you can assign different storage for your people to use, workstations for them to use. You can set zones for them to chop and plant trees. You can set zones for animals, and you can set zones for fertilizing and farming. You can adjust what they will eat, their diets. You can restrict certain things from them. You can adjust their equipment. You can see right here that Shane the Elder has a copper sword, and that's pretty much it. And you can give them commands by selecting all of them, and you can actually go to the settlers here, and you could see, okay, I could change their name. This square right here is their happiness. He's very happy. You could talk to them to see what would make them happier. You could assign them to a bed, and you can also change just elements of your settlement here. Now, we're not going to mess with that too much at the moment because we don't have any settlers we can do a lot with. I'm going to right-click on the Elder, and he wants me to kill Evil's Protector. So this is a long game quest. We're not going to do this right now, but if we do, he gives us a lunchbox, which is a super helpful item. A lunchbox is something that goes in our inventory. I believe it preserves food, makes it spoil less, and it consolidates all your food into one square, and then you can eat from it. It's great. So we accept this. And now we have an Elder Quest. And Elder Quests are major objectives that you can work toward. But feel free to discover the world at your own pace, which is what we're going to do. And then now it says you're done with the tutorial. So thank you for playing and good luck exploring. So we'll close that. We're going to say go back. And I'm going to say goodbye. So in the upper left is our kind of larger quest, but we'll just think about that later. What we want to do right now is actually go to the workstation, and now that I have all this stone, I can make a forge. So I'm going to make a forge, and I'm going to put it in my inventory. And I'm also going to make a storage box and put it in my inventory. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to think about, all right, I'm just going to use this central space for crafting. Later, I will do a better job of organizing. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and put a forge right there, and I'm going to put a storage box right above it. So this way, remember, your crafting stations can draw from nearby storage, and it could use this one, it could use this one, and I'm going to open up this storage box, and I'm going to start putting some things in here. I don't need to carry the crafting guide with me. I don't need these flowers. I don't need these arrows or these saplings or this worm bait. I'm putting those all in that chest. Now we have a bad guy. I'm going to fight this guy. Okay. And also, I'm going to right-click on this. You see this metal? I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to put this worm bait up there. I'll keep coins on me. I'm going to put the fire arrows in the storage box. You could shift left-click to quickly put them in there. And then you'll notice with the storage box, there are some buttons you can click. And you can change what your settlers will put in here. And so I've allowed my settlers to put in and take out everything possible from this box. Later, we're going to customize this more, but now that's fine. You could sort the storage inventory. You could take everything from this box. You can restock from storage if you have stacks in your inventory, or transfer everything from your inventory into here. You could quick stack, and you can even rename it when you want to customize. I'm going to right-click on the forge, and you see here that I don't have any metal that I could put in here, but if I wanted to... Oh, okay. I'll change the settings later. It's nighttime, so we're getting attacked. There's a couple of things I want to do. I'm going to select an axe. I'm going to chop this. Get this wood. I'm going to open up the box. I actually want the metal. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on the forge, and I'm going to just take these oak logs and put them in the fuel slot, and I can even take this spruce log and put it here. And then I'm going to select this copper ore and just drop it on the left side. And then it's starting to smelt these copper bars into copper ore. It takes 4 ore. It takes 4 ore to make 1 bar. And you can see here that the bar is done. And it's going to make another one, and I can just, take it like this, shift click. And now that I have the copper ore, I could try to make metal items. But to make anything metal, you'll notice that I'm going to need an anvil. So I'm going to actually click off only craftable, and I'm going to see an anvil. And to make an anvil, to make good stuff, I'm going to need iron. Now here's another useful thing about the crafting. You can actually search here. And so you could say, well, what about an axe? And if I type in axe, it shows me what I can make of that type. Now, remember when you're searching, you want to make sure that you have only craftable off so you can see everything. But now that I have some ore, can I make anything better? No. Not at the workstation. I need an anvil. So what we're going to need to do is get ourselves some iron. And I've got all this copper, which is great. Oh boy. Take this guy down. And let me get closer to this. Okay. So we don't want to make any of this stuff just yet. We want to get ourselves an anvil. So I'm going to go back down and begin the job of exploring down here. Now the red is magma and the blue is sapphire clusters. You could just mouse over to see what these things are. And all of these yellow squares are my torches. So what we're going to do now is look around for iron. And we're going to get more metal, and we're going to just explore. This is your main job at this point, which is really to explore the underworld, to find resources and get stronger equipment so that we can try to take on the first boss. And this is going to be the end of our first episode of our Complete Beginner's Guide to Necesse. I hope you have found this to be useful and fun so far. We're going to continue this and make it a Let's Play guide series, basically, so that I can just kind of play, so that I don't mean to say let's play, but more like play along guide series, so that you can play along and experience the game at the same pace, so that you understand what's happening with all of the context necessary. Now, of course, because it's random, your world will look different than mine. For example, in my recent Let's Play, I was in a desert biome when I started. But now I'm in a more foresty place, or at least I was on a beach. I have some beach around me, but not as much as there. So your place may look different, but the broad strokes will be the same. We've got a bunch of sunflowers. I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the game, please post those in the comments below. And if you're a Necesse expert and you'd like to leave some comments for new players, to help them out, I'd appreciate that so much. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Take care.